Yo, what is up, everybody? You're checking out that Sunday night abyss with your boy Drew. Good to see you guys. I have the link pinned in the chat. If you would, if you'd like to call in tonight through StreamYard, you just click the link. You don't need any kind of software or anything. So, what I wanted to talk about tonight, well, really, you can talk about whatever you want. If you want to call in just one on one with me for the first hour, we can talk about pretty much anything if you have a question or whatever. And what's up, Tina Marie? But what I wanted to kind of talk about was just like the breakdown of society that we are experiencing. So if you'd like to call and tell what you think is one of the biggest problems with the breakdown of society, I'd love to hear you out one on one. If you have something else though, that's fine too. That's why I labeled it kind of drive through. If you just want to ask a question or talk about something different, I really don't care. But what I've been thinking about lately is just like, well, for a while, I guess the whole breakdown of like the societal structure. And Benton liked to touch on this a lot. So shout out to Benton 668. Oh, Davy's going right now. My bad, Davy. Sorry, bro. This channel is smaller than your channel though, even on YouTube. So you're the big timer. Go ahead. Um, then Benton on his Nightmare Dystopia podcast, he liked to talk about the breakdown of society. So meaning when you call in to a hotline number, you have a problem with some kind of issue with your tech or whatever, a billing issue, you call up, and one of the things that they like to do is it just seems like they want you to go away. They want you to hang up. It's as hard as possible to get through and handle your actual problems. So part of that stems from the corporatization of everything and ultimately the people themselves giving away their power and not knowing how to do anything without reading step by step prompts on the screen. In the olden days, someone would say, I'm going to handle this, and they would take care of it. That's a problem I had at the corporation I was at is I would just rather handle it myself, but there's always these protocols in place and you can't really do it, especially in the corporation without some kind of manager override or something. Where back in the day, you used to be able to, as an employee, just take care of that business and handle it. So that's one of the ways that society's breaking down big time. Customer service, corporatism. I mean, it's just across the board. One of the things that I see too is kind of the lack of um what do you call it? I guess lack of standards or the lack of um or demoralization, I guess is what it ultimately comes down to. So in just a few generations, since most of us are a little bit older here, we've probably all seen that. It's like from if you go by the Yuri Bezmenov definition of what a generation would be about 15 to 20 years or somewhere in between, because that's how long it would take one child to get through the public education system. So now you have a programmed bot basically at the end of that 10,000 hours of school or however many hours it is of that whole cycle. So um just look at the things that are tolerated today, 2023, that definitely weren't tolerated in the 80s, 90s, even early 2000s. So if you went from 2005 or whatever till now, you could call that one generation basically, and go back even to the late 80s, early 90s, that'd be another generation. But specifically, I'm talking about things like the no service animals, or I should say the service animals that are just allowed in any business now. It was meant, it starts off as a noble cause. It's meant to say, hey, we serve food here, you can't bring your dog in here. And then there's, American with Disabilities Act, say, hey, I'm actually blind, I need this seeing eye dog to see that you're discriminating against me and I cannot use your business. That's kind of how it starts. And think back then it probably, that's what it was meant for, right? And now it's just like these pets are my emotional support pets. I can't leave my house without this little chihuahua that I put in my cart at the grocery store. So where you put your bread in this top basket, my dog's ass was just all up on there just because I'm scared to leave the house without it. It's not like a necessity that these people need these dogs to, obviously in some cases it is, but then you get into this thing where the store can't even question it anymore because it's a potential liability. So there is a lot of ways to, there's a lot of reasons how it happens. It's not just one reason. So if anyone wants to call in and talk about what you think is like one of the, I mean, there's many factors, not just one answer, but what you think is some of the biggest factors of contributing to the breakdown of society, or like things like I just mentioned there, things that weren't, if you got a couple ideas of some things that weren't tolerated, even one or two generations ago. And now it's like common to go to the grocery store and see, you see these dogs or whatever these week. I've seen a parrot, a guy had a parrot on his shoulder. And it's, ultimately, it's like, I personally don't care, but I kind of see the blurring of the line as well. It's like you're going into places that are serving food. These people are, required to have, excellent health standards and everything like that, cleanliness and sanitation and everything like that. And then you're just bringing in any mutt basically, and saying it's, my service animal. I need this animal. You're not allowed to question me. That's one of the ways that I think stems from demoralization too, because now again the people are too, the store workers or the managers or whatever, they're on the gravy train. They've been there a long time. They make a lot of money. It's not worth it for them to try to confront these people and make sure they have the paperwork or whatever they need to have these animals in there. I don't even know if you need that type of paperwork anymore. Has that just been abolished basically? But at a time, I think there was. And the manager is so comfortable, living that management life or whatever, and they've got 20 years invested. They don't want to rock the boat. It's not worth it for them to go possibly get caught up in something like that, where this person's gonna write to the corporate a letter and get the manager like thrown or in trouble or demoted or possibly fired or whatever. That's a big part of it too, is like the comfort level of these people. They would rather just grin and bear it than have to actually do something about it, I think. um Hold on. What is bushwhacking bear, berserker bear here says, Devon Stack Blackpilled. Okay, I haven't heard that name in a while, but I know who you're talking about. Had a great video on the subject of the hyper over micromanagement of the corporate world and used office space as an anchor for the presentation. Yeah. So I saw Stephen David said it earlier too, is a term. I didn't make it up. I heard it somewhere where they say these people fail upwards in the corporation. That's what happens as you climb the corporate ladder. It's people that show up every day. They're genuinely nice people. They're bad workers. They have no sense, no common sense. They have no ability to problem solve on their own. I'm the manager, let's say, and now this person's working under me. This person's kind of almost in my way. So to me, to get her out of my way, I'm gonna suggest that, yeah, she's ready for a promotion to the next level, to even get her above me, to just get her out of my hair so that I can continue to do what I need to do unimpeded. And I think that's a lot of the corporate world. These people fail upwards, and it creates that, just the complete breakdown of the chain of command basically, as you got idiots getting higher up the chain of command. Tina Marie says, I had someone apply at my job at a job to my company, dog walking, Nature Calls, who wanted to bring her emotional support dog with her to walk other people's dogs. Well, see, where does it end, man? Now, are you even allowed to, Tina, are you even allowed to say that's the reason why you won't hire them? Or do you have to go a roundabout way and say, you just went with another client? See, back in the day, they would just say, yeah, you're out of your mind. That's why I'm not hiring you. And now that's like a litigious thing. You probably can't even say that's the reason why. Obviously, you don't want another dog with these other strangers' dogs. It's going to create some kind of problem down the line. Stephen David says more disabled people now than ever. People burned out by having to pick up their slack so that they'll just let everything be permitted. Yeah, the job I was at last was club warehouse stocker job, stock the store in the morning. And there's just this dude that's permitted to stock, and he's from the army. This is what made it even crazier to me. This guy would just take his time, and he was a younger guy from the army, maybe like young 30s, and he would stock only the berries in this area, which is a maximum of 8 pallets. It's sometimes as little as 4 pallets in an entire like 5-hour shift. He would somehow get by doing that, and then me and other people would go up to these managers like, "Hey, dude, we're doing 5 to 8 pallets every 30 minutes." You know what I'm saying? This guy's somehow stretching this out. And the managers, yeah, we'll talk to him. But he would always claim like PTSD or something from the military, some shit like that. And that's another, and then nothing gets done. So then he knows he can get away with it. That's really what it is he's just lazy and he knows he can get away with it. That's another way the breakdown of society happens, where he just claims some kind of disability or whatever, some mental problem. And now we got to work harder all day. Everyone that was in that department with me, in that produce department, there was only usually like 3 other guys max, right? So now all 3 of us have to do like maybe stock like, I don't know, 30 to 40 pallets a morning, while he does 4 to 8, where instead of everyone doing 20 pallets, we could kind of, you know, take our time or whatever. Well, now we got to bust our ass while this dude, it's unbelievable that someone could even go as slow as this guy went. Like, he would stock these strawberries, he would literally take everyone out and look at everyone for no reason. You got to just get it out there and go on to the next thing. What unhinged beliefs do you have for us? I've never seen this name. The moon is stationary. I got plenty of unhinged beliefs. Stay tuned. Oh, okay. Here, WhatsApp's onto it here. This is another major problem with society. It goes with the failing upwards is too many chiefs, not enough Indians. That's exactly the place that I was working at. Um, you can't say it better than that. Where there's a manager, okay, that like where I was at, obviously there's a general manager. He's not there all day. So and in my opinion, he should be in the office just answering phones or putting out fires. Basically, he shouldn't really be actively working. 3 managers directly under him. Under those are assistant general managers. Underneath those managers, it's like called staff level managers. So these are the managers of the managers. So the assistant general manager is just to help or fill in for the general manager when he's not there. Then you have maybe, I don't know, 5 or 6 staff level managers. These are the managers of the managers that make the manager's schedules, hold them accountable and everything like that, and answer to the assistant general managers and the general managers. Then you have the managers. Then there's countless managers, like literally countless managers. Every single department has multiple managers. Okay. And then underneath the managers, you have supervisors. So chain of command comes down. The order comes from the top, goes to the staff level manager, who tells the manager, who tells the supervisor, who tells the employee. But then the employee somehow is responsible to do all this. And where I was at, a lot of the problem was they just would kind of give you a vague outline of what you and then expect you as the hourly employee to get it done. They want you to do this. They'll say, okay, we have this vague idea of we want, XYZ by the end of the day. And then you got to figure out how to do it. And then that's where I would kind of get in and have problems is I would say, well, you need to tell me exactly what you want because you're the one making the call here, not me. I'm not getting paid to make these calls of how to make this happen. And yeah, ultimately it comes down to it seems to me like extra work on the employee because there's just too many managers and they're all just trying to avoid doing anything. Huge problem in corporations. What's up, Layla? I want to talk about like some of the biggest problems with society today, some of the things that are contributing to the downfall of society, the breakdown of society. And also that kind of goes hand in hand with it is things that are allowed now today that even one or even two generations ago seemed outrageous and would have never flown. And now it's just common. So another one's like tattoos, like in certain places of work, everyone's always had tattoos. But even where I was working, like they had to be covered up. You could wear a long sleeve shirt or whatever and cover them up. And then eventually they just caved and buckled. And now you can have face tattoo, you can have tattoo exposed and everything like that because just everyone has tattoos and they need more and more workers. So I don't have any tattoos, so I don't think it looks that cool. I don't think it looks professional. Like I mentioned when I went to the church a couple weeks ago, that was actually on Toilet Boy Earth channel, so not everyone here might have not seen that. Is I went to this church the first time, and then the pastor guy or whatever, he had on like he had his sleeves were rolled up just enough so you could see his tattoos kind of poking out the bottom of just enough, like he purposely did that just so you could see that little hint of that tattoo. Where back in the day, you would have never let anyone know you had those kind of tattoos. War by Deception, yeah, says I work for $1 billion corporation and there are probably 8 to 10 levels of bosses between me and the top dog of the company. Huge problem in these corporations, yeah. And I always had results like where I was at just going to the top guy because they always had what they called an open door policy. And they say you're supposed to talk to your supervisor, and your supervisor will go to your manager. If your supervisor can't handle it, then you go to the manager. If that manager can't handle it, then you go. But a lot of times I would just go straight to the top because I had like good rapport with these general managers and they knew I wasn't, I'm not making it long winded or whatever. I'm saying something as fast as I can. I'm like, okay, like here's the issue I have, and here's how I would suggest to solve it. And they would usually help me just to kind of get me out of there right away. But I was going against the chain of command according to them. What's up, Layla?
Hi,
Oh, we can hear you.
what's up, chat? How are you guys?
Sounds good.
Cool.
Yeah, what did you want to talk about any of this? Problems, big
Yeah,
problems in
just for a
society,
minute.
breakdown of society. Go ahead.
Yeah, for a minute, because I've got the baby monitor over here, and
Okay.
these kids haven't been sleeping, so any minute
Yeah,
now.
we've had big problems with these babies. Sleep. This is my wife, everyone too. If you are new here or whatever, so
So,
she's in the other room. You done cleaning my kitchen, woman?
shit. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, yeah. Well, I think honestly, the biggest problem in society, I think they're erasing the image of God out of the people.
Well, yeah. Ultimately, that's what it all comes down to. Like what I was talking about earlier. I don't know if you were in there yet. It said like these people kind of give away their power to the corporation. They can't handle any problem without reading a prompt and everything like that. But ultimately, the root cause of that is exactly what you said.
Yeah, I think all of the issues are offshoots of that core issue. Uh, it's just about erasing God out of your soul, the image of God, and yeah, then people start acting crazy.
Yeah, and they're looking for anything to replace that. I think, and they
Well,
don't
yeah,
really know that.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, because you're always gonna seek it, because like your soul wants that. Like you're, you know, as a human being, in your nature craves that.
I agree.
Yeah.
What what else do you think that is a major like blight and problem of society? That would be an offshoot of what you just talked about.
Oh, I mean, it seems to be collapsing, and that's got to be why, right? I think it's because people. I was thinking about that too, because a lot of the older philosophers that we've had, were trying to push people towards pure materialism, and you're just an animal, right? Like there's no spiritual element to the human. Um, but then I was thinking about it too, and a lot of the creators that you've talked about recently, it seems like it's kind of the opposite. Like it's kind of trying to make it like your body's just an avatar and it's nothing, and it's all just this spiritual subjective realm. So it's kind of like it was one way, like the materialist, the animalist, and now it's like gone in an opposite kind of direction. Like I see that.
On some of them, yeah, some of them say that.
Yeah, yeah, definitely.
They say, "Goss, you are just an avatar."
Yeah, like that kind of thing.
I agree
Yeah.
with you though. It's like it's not one or the other, right? It's the combination of both.
Oh yeah, I mean they both have to be integrated because that's who you are. Like you're not more your body and you're not more your soul. You're both. You're human. That's what it means to be human.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah.
I think
Yeah.
you see that a lot in these like truth community, whatever you want to call it, is these people go so far to the spiritual that they completely lose touch with the physical side of it. And then you got people out here too being like they're worried that their like salvation or sanctification is can somehow be manipulated by like man's paperwork or stuff like that. You know what I'm talking about?
Yeah, I know what you're talking about. Yeah. Um, I think that's too much focus on outward slavery in a sense where you should really be freeing yourself on the inside, if you have that, like if you've mastered your will and your mind it's more on the inner level to me, like the way I see it. I don't think having a driver's license is going to damn you.
Yeah, I don't agree with that line of thought either. I think it's
Yeah, I think it's more being a slave to like your will and your passions is what really makes you a slave, right? I mean, that's the way I see it.
yeah, slave to sin or something.
Slave to sin, people are slave to food, people are slave to drugs, alcohol, sex, like whatever it is. That's more like how I see being a slave.
Yeah, I agree. Um one of the one of the like what's the word? Like manifestations of the problem that you the root problem I think that you touched on the removal of God from society. And I mean you could plot it on a you could plot it on a timeline with the through the decades and just see like how the average family was living and how much verse I bet you could put a line versus how many people like were actively participating in church and stuff like that or how many people believed in God. And you could see, as the belief in God and everything went down, you would see these people, becoming more broken homes, divorce, more, you know, le- less buying power for sure. Like you used to be able to buy a home way cheaper and everything like that. It's just way easier to kind of fleece these people after you've divided them and separated their assets and everything like that.
Well, yeah, I think it's made the people very complacent, and then they don't care about their freedom anyway. They'd rather kind of like, I guess, what you guys were talking about when I came in about the higher ups and like managers and such things. Like They want someone to just give them the answers and tell them what to do.
Yeah, I think that's a big see me rolling, appreciate you, brother. I think that's a big issue with the like you see it in the truther community is these people just want some type of guru or something that's going to feed them all the answers. That's why you see these data dump type channels being so successful because these people don't even want to they just want someone that's just going to fill them up whether it's the right or wrong thing to fill them up with. They don't care. They just want to digest this information and be able to recite it back to somebody and act
Yeah.
like they know something.
Yeah, and it's still like it just stops you from having to use your own brain and it stops you from thinking. I mean, those are the resources you've been given, by the creator and by God to figure stuff out here, you know. So
Good
you
one day.
honor your mind by doing that.
Good one day in the chat says prior to the 90s, no real degeneracy comparatively. I would somewhat agree, but I would say there was degeneracy, but it was like it was hidden. They knew like these types of people knew to keep that stuff in the closet.
It's
In
yeah,
the
people are
basement.
really proud about being degenerates today.
Oh
That's
yeah,
true.
totally. Like
Yeah, it's like a badge of
I
honor.
think about these people now, these young kids that got to go on these dating apps and how like
Oh,
you don't even know if it's a man or a woman at this point. I'd be terrified if I was one of
literally,
these young
yes.
guys. You
I've
don't even
heard
know.
Yeah, I've had friends that live in LA talk about that, but it could also be because they live in LA.
And like back in my day, like when the early days of the internet, you could get on these like chat forums, MSN chat or AOL chat. That's how we would meet, like, or try to meet people for dates or whatever. It there was never the thought like, yo, this would be a man, because I think back then they knew it was like, that's like an instant ass beating or something. These people would
Mm,
know to not even try that stuff. And now it's just like they're trying to like force it on you.
yeah, exactly.
Yeah, Reddington says 60s weren't degenerate. Yeah, that's to me, that's kind of when it all started. I guess I wasn't there to know. I'm sure there's always all kinds of crazy shit going on, but that's when
Really
it
the
was
50s, I
pushed
guess.
through the
50s,
mainstream, through the
yeah,
Beatles, all that.
yeah. I think the 50s and probably prior to that is when a lot of those philosophies were brought in, the ones I was referring to a little bit earlier, and it really devolved from there. A lot of destructive stuff came out of that. Um, just equating, humans with animals, basically.
Another problem that you
And
and
I
I
think
like.
I think that's why it's like drifting so much into the spiritual now and trying to erase the body. It's like the opposite because um I think people are so lost and then they fed them that whole, animalistic like mentality. And then it's like I feel like people were trying to kind of fight back maybe with the spirituality, but it just went completely off the rails.
Well, yeah, you get a diet of like zero spirituality through the school and all that through society, and then they go and they flip the switch to say, well, it must be
Yeah.
all spiritual.
Yeah, and it kind of gives you the sense of having a spiritual life without having any, responsibility or accountability to God in any real sense. I
Yeah,
mean, it's a blanket statement too. It's not saying all of it, but I'm talking about the extreme end right now.
the one thing that you and I like to talk about that goes right with this breakdown of society and everything is like Karens,
Karen, oh no,
meddlers, I should.
meddlers. Well, meddlers just hate free will. They hate to see other people exercising free will. They're too scared to use their free will. We saw that a lot in 2020, I feel like.
Yeah, that's what the whole thing was based on. It was based on meddlers.
Meddlers, oh man, that's a
Like
great word.
weaponized meddlers. It is a great word, and I thought it was funny when Santos called that one lady. What was that lady's name? Some
I
lady
know who
from
you're talking about, but I don't remember.
when I did the Santos stream about I read his police report and everything, there was some lady in there talking shit about him. She was like, no, none of this is true. None of those police report is true and all that. And Santos put her on blast on his community tab, and he said, "This woman is a bar whore and a meddler." Like, damn,
Yeah.
that's some straight condemnation to be called the bar whore
The
is no
metal
big deal.
Yeah, the meddler's worse, I
Oh,
think,
it's
right?
100 times worse, man. If you're a bar whore, you could still be a nice person and want to like help people and stuff. But if you're a meddler, that tells me everything I need to know.
That's like the micromanager. I feel like they just hate to see people exercising free will. Free will disgusts them.
And that is the problem that we get into with the corporations too, is that the corporation, the people that would climb that type of ladder are the meddlers.
Yes.
That's how they're climbing the ladder. They're tattling on people and everything like that. And they don't want to see you solve the problem when a customer comes to you and you have a problem you could solve right there on the spot. They don't want you to do that because that's exactly what you said. Then you are exercising your free will, and they hate that.
Yeah, it's under attack. They don't want you to do that. Toilet Bowler says meddler is some Scooby Doo shit. Yeah, it was Scooby Doo to normalize meddling. Is that really what that was?
Predictive programming. The meddling is good. They wanted you to think meddling was good. You were going to catch Farmer
Mhm.
Jones up to no
Yeah.
good.
Yep.
Yeah.
So my great grandmother lived to be 116. You can look her up. Her name was Bessie Cooper. She said she lived to be that old because she minded her own business and she drank water.
And she was getting around till the end, wasn't she? Pretty much.
Yeah, she lived independently until she was 105. She worked on her farm.
And that was her secret to life, was mind your own business.
Mind your own business. I love that. I think about that all the time. I love things that are not my business. Don't have to worry about it.
Exactly right.
Yeah, you're responsible, for yourself.
And then how does that tie into them that they've removed God? Is that why they don't want to be responsible for themselves, right? So they want someone to tell them step by step what to do, and that's why they're trying to impose that on you. Is that how it works?
Yeah, I think so. And then also because free will is God's gift to you. It's what it's like one of the defining things that makes you human. You have free will. You're not an animal just like we were talking about earlier. You're not an animal run by instinct only. You can choose when you get an instinctual feeling to do the opposite. You can think about it. You can rationalize it. You can make a decision. Uh, yeah, so I think that's a huge part of taking humanity out of the human.
And it's going further with the transhumanism and everything like that, where even if I think what they're trying to do with that, and when they build the profile on you and everything, the digital voodoo doll of you, and they want to predict what you can do, is they want to at least know, even if you are able, if you're not an NPC and you're able to exercise your free will, they still want to have these algorithms that can, with some success, with some pretty good success, predict exactly what you're going to do.
Yeah, exactly.
That's what it seems like to me. They want to create this like digital godhead that's going to know everything at all times, and they're trying to get, like track your sleep and we got that one, what is that thing called? We got that Google Nest thing.
Yeah.
It's like asking, can I track your sleep and everything like that? And supposedly it
No,
doesn't even have a camera in it, but it has like a
that's
light
a lie.
sensor.
I think it
I
does.
think that's a lie too, yeah. Because when you walk up to it, it like lights up, but supposedly it's just like a light sensor that it can tell you're getting closer because there's less light or something. But then
Yeah.
somehow it's gonna like somehow watch you sleep and tell you how well you slept and everything like that. But yeah, they want to know everything, like how long are you sleeping, like everything. So then that's fed into that computer to build that model, and
Yeah.
it's like a fake god, like the god that would know everything. They
Right.
have this digital synthetic version of it that they use to try to predict things or something.
Hmm. Yeah, I think a lot of people will love that.
We'll love the metaverse, you're saying?
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely, they'll love it. There's like predetermined paths. You can go A or B, maybe C. You can go those three branches, and then from there A or B again. It's not
Yeah,
just you can't
it's
just take the plane
surrendering.
any direction like your real body in real life.
Oh man, yeah, it's a mess. People are gonna just forget how to be humans, and it's already a mess.
Well, we're already there, don't you think? I mean,
Yeah.
these people
Oh,
we see
yeah.
in the stores, we saw this lady in where the hell were we? That lady crashing into the aisles at the Walmart grocery store. This lady had like a mask
Yeah.
on, and she couldn't like. She's literally it's like a video game. She's like crashing into the. This is just the other day, like 2023. She's like crashing into the shelves and everything. She can barely like move, and it was like watching a video game NPC.
Yeah, it felt so surreal. It does feel surreal sometimes going out when you see people just shorting out like that.
Yeah, we still see that all the time. When the other day too, we were at BJ's
Well,
and that
all the
guy
time.
just froze in the parking lot. He froze again. He just
Yeah, do you guys, like, in the chat see that a lot? We see that a lot,
we
like,
see
people will
we
just
see that quite
freeze.
often. These people freeze.
They just stop, they just power down completely. It's the most
It's
bizarre
like some
thing.
Westworld shit or something.
Yeah,
I
like,
think
why
that's the
why
same
is
guy. The one that we saw, I think what happened when I thought about it for a while is he was walking and he was walking so slow because he could barely walk. So I just turned into the parking spot in front of him. So I think he
Mhm.
was mad. I think that's why he stopped there, even though I wasn't close to hitting him or anything. And he was just walking so slow. I think he thought I should have stopped for him or something.
I don't know, it was bizarre, though. I see that a lot.
But then I don't know if you noticed in the store that was the same guy. He got on one of those retard racers, and then he like very slowly came and cut me off at one point. I think he was mad at me. He was trying to like,
He was passively aggressively letting you know what was up.
yeah, yeah, because he knew I was the one that like cut him off because he froze until we all got out of the car and went inside. He was like frozen,
Yeah,
and then he like cut me off with his 2 mile an hour scooter in the store
just
rather
showed
than just
you.
yeah. I don't. I mean, that's another problem though too that contributes to the breakdown of society is like the removal of conflict.
Oh, some people just need a whooping, that's for sure.
Or if he really felt like that, he should have just said, "Hey man, you cut me off," even though I wasn't even close to him. But if that's how he felt, he should have
Yeah.
just said, "What was that? You cut me off," and it would have just been over right there. But then
Well,
20
yeah,
minutes later in the store, he's like messing with me.
yeah, I think we're taught that conflict is bad, but conflict is actually good. That's how you fix the problems. You need to just hash it out then
Yeah,
and
just
there.
speak up.
Yeah, definitely. A
And
lot
the
of these problems
removal.
are because people don't have any conflict. They're just made way too comfortable.
Oh, yeah. I could
Yeah,
say some stuff about that. I'll be nice tonight, but I think there's people out here that have had no conflict. They've never had to overcome anything. So then they just make up these like problems that they might have
yeah.
and
I feel like you don't know who you are
that's
when
their
you don't
adversity.
overcome. Yeah, exactly.
What'd you say? You
I feel like you don't get to like figure out who you are when you don't have to overcome any problems or adversity. Like if you don't have to work through anything,
Yeah, and that's part of the
you
problem
don't
too
know
is
anything about yourself.
they've made the life so easy too, right? When you got they
Mhm.
want to go that way more with the UBI and everything like that, where you'll never really have to struggle. You'll
Yeah.
always everything will be paid for. Maybe you won't have extra money if you won't have a car or something. You won't have money to do vacation or have luxurious things. But if you can have your basic needs met, I think they keep you in such a state where you've never had to overcome any adversity.
Yeah,
And
definitely.
then
That's
you're
where the
looking for
complacency.
then you're
Mhm.
just looking for the like anything to latch onto that is a super minor inconvenience and you're trying to blow it up and exaggerate it and pretend
Yeah.
like it's this major problem.
That's when you start meddling.
There you go.
The
100%.
cycle.
Chat shouting out Yurt.
Yurt. Shout out Yurt.
Is Yurt in here? Is he in here? Shout out to Yurt.
Yeah, if anyone else wants to call in, I was just gonna call in for a minute. I don't really have a whole lot to say. I'm kind of super tired, but Benton
Yeah,
called me out earlier for not coming on anymore.
yeah, we still gonna do our show on the main channel. It's just the problem is the kids don't sleep right now. They're both
Yeah,
kind of.
the whole February, like they haven't slept
Oh,
well
it's
at
been
all.
rough,
So
man.
we haven't slept well at all.
That's why I didn't go live Friday night on the main channel like I normally do too, because it's just I'm so exhausted, not getting any sleep really.
Okay, chat, why is everything moist? I missed it.
I don't get it.
Everybody.
No, that started
What do
from
you mean
before.
that I missed? Oh, okay.
Yeah, it started on the Discord earlier today. It has nothing to do with this conversation or anything.
Oh, okay, okay.
Everything is just moist.
Everything is moist.
Oh, because that's what I think Barricade Garage is that what he called Owen Benjamin or something? The moist meta.
I don't know. I have never I don't know what their beef is about. I stay out of it. I mind my business.
There you go.
I take my
I
break.
like to stir shit up sometimes on the
Yeah.
metaverse. Got to do it.
I know it can be interesting for
Need the
sure.
drama.
Yeah.
All right. Well, I'll let you go if you need to go. Do your thing.
Yeah, I'll take off. If anyone else wants to call in, yeah, thank you, chat. God bless. Good night.
Peace. You got to remove.